there are legitimate questions being asked about how the country's debt situation got to where it is. Mr. Speaker, let me state emphatically that we have not been reckless in borrowing and in spending. It is worth noting that the debts we're serving were not only contracted during the period of this administration. Mr. Speaker, we'll spend money on things that are urgent, to build roads and bridges and schools, to train our young people and equip them to face a competitive world. Considering the amount of work that still needs to be done on the state of our roads, the bridges that have to be built, considering the number of classrooms that need to be built, the furniture and equipment needs at all stages of education, considering the number of children who should be in school and are not, considering the number of towns and villages that still do not have access to potable water, I dare say no one can suggest we have overborrowed or spent reckless.
That's the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. But mind you, in 2016, Dr. Bawumia said that there will be no community in this country up until the end of 2018 that will have water and toilet problems. So when the President now comes to us in 2023, after 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 5 years on, to be telling us the things that he should have achieved in 2018, you know that we are in trouble. But we'll go to Ashaiman now.
Investigations on a knife attack that took place on Saturday, March 4, leading to the death of a 21-year-old soldier, Sheriff Imoro, in Ashaiman, may commence soon by the police. The broken family of the once young and vibrant soldier was seated awaiting the remains for burial at the 37 Military Hospital. According to Ahmed Abdul Rahman, an uncle of the deceased, the police was at the 37 Military Hospital morgue in the early hours of Wednesday morning to take pictures of the remains before it was later taken back into the hospital's morgue for an autopsy to be conducted before burial.
Listening to one of the lieutenants who is in charge of the burial ceremony, he assured us that tomorrow by 10 o'clock everything will be successful. So we are yet waiting for the autopsy to be complete. Once we are assured, fully assured, tomorrow morning by 8, we will be here to take care of the body, bath him and then dress him up and then hand him over to the military to continue their process.
He said the deceased body was seen with stab wounds.
When we saw cats, I saw it myself. About 3 cats. But all the cats were on his left arm. Yeah. I hope the left arm that he was holding with the phone. So when they stabbed, the final stab, they left the knife in it. So it was where he went and passed away. That where he pulled the knife, that was why the blood flew more. When the police came, we just went to examine the body of the deceased, and then he's on the process of the autopsy. So he's waiting for the autopsy to be done, then decide his function.
This family here is filled with grief, pain, and sorrow after the demise of their beloved 21-year-old son, Sheriff Imoro, who was allegedly murdered somewhere around Ashaiman. We have been told here at the 37 Military Hospital, where the family has been gathered, that the body is currently undergoing autopsy. But after the exercise is done, he will be buried tomorrow at the military cemetery in Chado. Godwin Asideba, TV3 News, Accra.
And that's Godwin Asideba's report there. Let's connect now with elder statesman and a retired captain of the Ghana Armed Forces, Dr. Nyaho Nyaho Tamakloe. Joins us via Zoom. Doc, good morning and thank you very much indeed for your time.
Good morning.
Doc, how are you these days?
I'm fine. I'm very fine.
How did you receive the news of the gruesome murder of the trooper who will be buried this morning? I'm sure processes have begun this morning, Imoro Sharif.
For a young man of his age to lose his life through such a wicked behavior of a group of people, I think that is very unfortunate. Even if it happened not to be a soldier, it is very, very important.
92.7.
Now, there have been reports, but I think one thing that we have to get clear is that this particular incident wasn't the first to happen
3FM
to a military
92.7.
personnel. We have had this perhaps the years. In fact, it is down in history that in 1963 we had a similar thing in 1st Battalion of Infantry, which was between the police and a section of the forces there. It happened also in Ho, where the military have to get out of their barracks to attack the civilian sector in a community. It has happened on several occasions in Tamale that I cannot list them up now. However, we must make one thing clear about this particular one. Because in all the other instances, there is always a peace pipe that is smoked at the end of the incident, where it wasn't that brutal or fatal. Now, in this particular case, we were told, a report came out from the Ministry of Defense that command to put a body in position was given by the military high command.
Right.
This is very important.
Why is that important?
It's important because if you make mention of military high command, the whole thing gets to a different level. Now, let me give you the composition of the military high command first.
Please do.
So you see how serious it is. Now, the military high command is made up of the Chief of Defense Staff. Then, of course, we have those we call service commanders. You are talking about the Air Force commander, the Navy commander, and the Army commander. They give you the service commanders. Then, of course, on that particular position also should be what we call Chief of Staff for the Army. So this is a very strong combination. And for such a powerful group to come out with a very, very, very huge force to go and attack civilians baffles me a lot.
Is that a standard if the military...
I'm coming to that.
Right.
That's why I say that baffles me a lot, because all the previous ones, either a number of platoons will give you a company. So you can see, and they come on a battalion. A platoon or even what do we call it? A section.
Section, about 8 soldiers.
Exactly. Can be dispatched to go and quell or assist the soldier in trouble or in difficulty. But where you have a whole contingent moving to a particular spot, and we shouldn't forget that they came out to say that military intelligence have done its own work already. And when you really want to move and move forcefully, of course, military intelligence will have to come in. They will go and look at the situation, come and report. And based on that, you organize your work, your planning, and all the other equipment that you need to move. Now, what I saw personally on the television convinces me that, yes, this directive might have come from high command. I saw a helicopter.
Right.
There is no way a helicopter or choppers can fly out of their various bases without the knowledge of the Air Force commander.
Right.
There is no way MOWACs or APCs can move out of their place in Burma camp all the way to Ashaiman without the knowledge of the brigade commander. In fact, the brigade commander must be part of the high command. Then, of course, you have the army too there, the infantry. So that tells you that this is a well-organized, planned, and well-executed operation.
But the president of the republic is the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces.
I'm coming to that.
Did they take this decision with him in the picture?
I am coming to that.
I hear you, sir.
I'm trying to be a bit systematic so people can follow me. Now, there is no way the high command can move troops at that level with such a firepower anywhere in the country without the knowledge of the commander-in-chief. The commander-in-chief must be informed, because if the troops you are moving are very, very, very potent. And if they choose to do anything otherwise, then there is a big problem. So I am convinced that they had the permission or the command from the commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces. Now, if that is so, then that is very unfortunate. Yes, a military man has lost his life. I was once a soldier just like him. But we are nursing a young democracy. And we have to be careful how we move. And what also might surprise me is if that had been done with the consent of the chief, commander-in-chief, then I ask myself, what sort of advice was he given by the chief of defense staff? Now, if it turns out to be the other way around, that the chief of defense staff has put this particular group together for that particular operation, then that is very disturbing. That is very, very disturbing. Because they were out of the barracks for almost a whole day. They came at midnight and they left somewhere late, I'm told around 4 p.m. or so.
Right.
That is a period a lot can happen. And if that is the situation, then I will say that operation in Ashaiman was just a coup in process. This is the way I would define it.
A coup in process.
Yes. Somewhere along the line, maybe another instructions came that the people should go back to barracks. I mean, we've lived through this thing, so I know what I'm talking about. People probably might disagree with me, or some military men might disagree with me, but this is the way I look at it. Now, if the troops have been withdrawn, what exactly have they been able to achieve? That's the first point.
Right.
It's very, very important, because looking at the sort of behavior they put on. And mind you, one thing about soldiers is that soldiers don't like anyone messing up with them when it comes to their fellow. As for that one, everybody must get it clear. If you are dealing with a soldier, you have to be careful. That's why soldiers in the past are always living very far away from the main town, just to avoid getting in touch with civilians so easy. Your soldiers all over the world behave the same way.
Did the soldiers do anything wrong? Because there have been concerns about their involvement and meddling in civil police matters.
Most important thing is about command.
Hello, Doc. Well, we'll have to rate Doc back on the line. The internet is not being too friendly this morning. Let's try and raise Doc back on the line. He raises some very interesting points there. Well, Doc is back. Doc, thank you. Welcome back.
You followed me.
Hello, Doc.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
So, this is what... Oh.
Well, yes, sir. You're back on. Yes, sir, Doc.
Hello?
Yes, Doc, I can hear you. Talk to me, sir.
And I think... And there's one thing that we have to watch carefully also, because it's of great importance. This country has never had any experience of a serious military intervention until 1966. And that, unfortunately, the armed forces, Ghana armed forces or the military, was politicized. And I think that is what we have to put a stop to immediately. Because the moment our military gets politicized, then we have finished as a state.
How exactly do you mean? When you say politicization of the military, what exactly do you mean?
But it's as simple as that. Even that one is happening under our noses here daily. Recruitment. During my time, we recruited boys we never knew from Adam. Ours is to recruit and we recruit. Those found fit will join the army. I'm talking about soldiers, not officers. You follow me? Now,
right.
So-called protocol list, that is very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. And I think a stop must be put to that immediately. Because we have gone through a lot of series of coup d'etats in this country. This coup d'etat started in 66. Then after that, there was another one in 72. Then we had another in 79, that was June 4th. Then we had another in 81, which brought the PNDC. And then through that, we have our present Fourth Republic. I think we have to be very, very careful. Now, there are few examples I would like to give young officers coming up.
Right.
They have to be very careful with politicians. I have gone through before and I know what I'm talking about. They have to be very, very, very careful. If they value their profession, then they should keep politicians at bay. Now, I remember very clearly in 1974, when I was a young officer, I was a part of the recruitment team. We went around the whole country. We ended up at Bolga in those days. We went to all the regional capitals just to look for soldiers, young men, into the Ghana Armed Forces. I was then final authority. I, as a medical officer, If I say the person is fit, then the person is fit, and he will be taken, or she will be taken.
Right.
I remember clearly that we took boys from Ho, from Cape Coast, from all the way to the north, Bolga, Tamale, everywhere. When June 4th came, I have just been released from detention during the Ashaiman era. I think I've been released about 3 weeks or so, then June 4th came. Now, after they have settled down within, let's say, 3 weeks, 4 weeks or so, and five in number. They were on the council with Jerry John Rollins and Bochijan and others. This is how people I knew. Now, I had a shock of my life one day. I had just parked by the roadside. These people who were now in charge of this country, 5 strong young men. I think the highest rank among them was a full corporal. So they passed by in their trail goer. That car is in those days. A military ship, a big one. Then I saw them reversing towards me. I have parked by the roadside. I was talking to a friend. They got out of their vehicles, 5 of them came and saluted me. I was shocked. I didn't recognize any of them. It was later that I learned that they were members of the Armed Forces Revolutionary Council. Can you imagine that?
Wow.
Now, a similar thing also happened when General Kutu Ashaiman was in power. I was then in detention, once the same detention. General Afrifa was arrested. Briefly after that, he was released. He wanted to see General Ashaiman just to whisper into his ears some of the dangers in society as far as the military is concerned. The general did not give him that opportunity to meet him. He wrote a letter to him. I'm sure people have the copies of that letter. And the letter was just a simple message. Hand over power, or one day we shall be lined up and shot. And I'm telling you, it happened. That was when 7 or so generals were shot, including Colonel Roger Feli.
Right.
So this young officers, please, the military is your profession, is your career. And if you are in, just soldier and forget about politics.
Do you see something happening? That's why you're saying all these things at this time, sir.
I have been warning this country from time to time. I have been warning this country from time to time. And what happened in Ashaiman should not be taken for granted. Be it a command from the from high command, from the military high command, and whether that particular command was given by the commander-in-chief or not. I am sure there are military experts there who can probably analyze this better than I am doing now.
Were you disappointed that the president didn't say anything about all of this yesterday in the State of the Nation address?
I was shocked. I was really shocked. Because this particular thing has been trending, I think, since Saturday also.
Right.
And the president, I think, gave his speech on, was it on Tuesday or Wednesday?
It was yesterday. That's right.
Yeah. So this shouldn't have escaped him at all. It's very important.
Would you say the president? Would you say the president has lost touch with the present happenings in Ghana?
Well, I don't know what sort of strategy they have or he has, but this to me was such an important issue that shouldn't have escaped his notice at all.
If the military high command is listening to you this morning, what should they be doing exactly to win back the confidence of the people? I'm asking this because you know that you have mentioned soldiers who have been attacked, and it looks like the military now is, people don't respect the military to that extent where they even are emboldened to attack soldiers. What would you advise the military high command does?
I would advise the high command to keep his troops in the barracks. We have all of them over the place. And the so-called fields, they should call all of them back to us. That is where they be. They are from external forces. External one is the work of the police. And that must be made clear to them. That is number one thing they should have.
Say that again. Say that again, please. You said the soldiers should come back to the barracks, leave the Galamsey site. Is that what you're saying?
I say all soldiers on various missions across the country must be called back to their barracks. That is where they belong. So that they can focus on why they got into the armed forces. That is to soldier, not to be assistants to this, to that, to that. No. A soldier has no business guarding anyone. That is the work of the police. So that they can focus on their work as soldiers and soldier on to defend this country.
And what would be the second advice?
Before I leave, with the sort of situation that occurred a few days ago in Ashaiman, I will call on the Minister of Defense to resign now.
Why?
Now.
Why?
Why? Because definitely he should be in the know. He should have advised the Commander-in-Chief better. If he has any good relationship with his service commanders, then this situation wouldn't have developed.
His deputy spoke, Doc. His deputy spoke.
Yeah, that is also another question, Mark. Why not himself and the deputy? Is he in the country or not? If he's in the country, why should the deputy speak on his behalf? As I said, I don't know whether he's in the country. But if he's in the country and the deputy spoke, that begs for another question. An answer. You see, you don't brush things under the carpet just like that. At a certain stage in governance, you will look at everything that drops, because it could be a dangerous pin.
Doc, we are going into an election. Citizens now are attacking soldiers. We can remember Major Maxwell Mahama, we can remember Imoro Sharif, and many others who have been attacked. We can also remember the reprisal attacks in Wa and many other places. Ashaiman is of present memory. We are going into an election. The last election had soldiers shooting to kill. We saw in Ijura and all of that. It looks like we are setting up a real battleground, not with the ballot boxes, but with civilians fighting those in uniform and vice versa. What do you advise?
I hope what you have said is not the intention of leadership. I hope, I really hope and pray that that is not their intention. Now, Kufuor set a good example some years back. And I advise this government to do the same thing. Because the power of the people cannot easily be pushed aside. I said, Kufuor sets an example.
What did he do?
What I'm talking about.
What did he do?
Kufuor is alive.
What did he do?
Kufuor handed over peacefully. Peacefully. The rest, if you really want to know the pressure I had on him, go to him and he will tell you. But I know. I would like him to divulge it himself. So I will advise this administration to hand over peacefully. And Kufuor, being a wise man, did exactly that. That's all that I would say.
Should the soldiers who went to Ashaiman be punished for what they did?
Definitely not. They shouldn't be punished. As I said, it has happened and it happens. Unfortunately, the young man fell in hands of criminals and they ended his life. Soldiering, these are some of the things you suffer. It will just be the same on the war front or on the battlefront. Those people, they are doing their duty based on instructions they have had from their superior officers. Listen to me carefully. Those who should be held responsible are the superior officers who give command, not the men. Not the men, I repeat.
And what should happen to these superior officers?
No. And they also took directives and instructions from higher authority. That's what I'm saying.
Which is the president?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that is why I said the Minister of Defense must immediately resign or be fired. And we are here to see whether the president will have the guts to sack any of his ministers.
Do you think the president will do that?
I doubt. We have one in hand, two, at least two, who should have gone long ago. They are still hanging around.
And who are these people?
The finance minister and the health minister. They have lost confidence in this population. I know what I'm talking about. If the president wants at least to keep the little respect left for him, he should fire them, the two of them.
Sir, you had doubted the president before he was elected, that Ghanaians will feel the pain of his leadership. Should we give you back your stone?
I think I deserve it. I think I deserve it.
Sir, your closing thoughts as we wrap up this conversation. Speak to the nation. The nation is listening.
My closing thoughts are quite simple. We have reached a stage now that it is a duty of every Ghanaian to make sure the Fourth Republic survives. However, the Fourth Republic can only survive if leadership makes it possible to survive.
Dr. Nyaho Nyaho Tamakloe, thank you so much for your time this morning. It's been great sharing your morning with us, and may God keep you safe and healthy so we can have such insightful conversations with you. Grateful.
Thank you also, and you are welcome now. Thank you very much.
That's Dr. Nyaho Nyaho Tamakloe. He is a retired captain of the army. He is also a statesman, and he joined us with his thoughts there. William.
I mean, listening to him, I was just reminiscing my time at Bema Camp.
Barracks Wettins.
You know, I was at the Air Force Primary and I saw some of the things. I mean, I saw Ali Dijua and Rez when they were arrested. Because my school shared the war with the Air Force base. Every time there was an attempted coup, those were arrested, we brought them. Even you come and the gunshots we saw.
Right. And
so when I saw the chopper and the Moags and things moving, and it was mentioning Pins Goa and those
these days you don't see Pins Goa.
I mean, if you lived at Air Force, you felt the coups, the attempted coups.
Yeah.
And this was, I mean, I was born in the 70s. But I was born on the day Ashaiman celebrated his first anniversary, 13 January. So when it comes to coups, I lived from 13 January.
And Air Force was always a hot bed.
Because
people would want to come. That's where they hatch.
Yes.
The plan is hatched.
And my dad was an Air Force officer. And anytime a jet fighter was going up, he had to make sure, one of those who had to make sure that the parachutes and things were working.
Right.
So I knew he had to leave home. Sometimes he would come for us. You'll be on his left with his gun on the right. So we felt it. It's not a pleasant thing for the military to come into civilian space. So I
said they should go back to the barracks.
Yes, I mean, I had the privilege also to sit with Dr. Nyaho Tamakloe when I was at the Mirror and I did his profile. I still have his pictures. I have to return them to him. So everything that happened at Ashaiman, I saw it, and I could see those Kalabuli days.
Right.
They used to lash women, and looking at those things on TV, it was just as a young boy, those things were coming. I said, we shouldn't be seeing this after 30 years of the Fourth Republic.
But is that not because of the training of soldiers?
That's exactly the point Doctor was making.
And how we have militarized everything.
That's why he's saying that do not even come to the civilian space. Because this happened when they were sleeping. And that's why he gave that cool analogy. And we were at Bema Camp when
guerrilla tactics.
Yes, some of our friends' fathers were picked up. And the dangerous thing was that some names were mentioned and the descriptions were not right. So, for instance, they say, go for William Esidu. He has a beard with some spots of white. So when they come, they mistake.
They see Philip, he has the same thing.
Yes, and I remember one guy in my class, Peter something. They picked his father and shot him wrongly.
Goodness me.
Yes, this is a thing that happened.
It happened back in the day.
Peter Boateng, they picked Peter Boateng's father and shot him wrongly before we got to know. And if the stories I was hearing as a young boy were true, our own Father Buckle, they were chasing him because there was a confusion about him and a certain other gentleman. Right. So soldiers and the way they act, I lived it because my father was a soldier. So listening to him, everything was playing back.
But you see, William, today,
so the way the Ashaiman thing went, it shouldn't happen again.
But William, you see, he's speaking about soldiers getting back to the barracks. I don't know if the presence of the military in civil space is a verdict of the failure on our police. And I'm saying this because we have seen Adidinku robbery. We've seen policemen killing policemen and later being arrested and investigated and all of that. Now we see policemen, soldiers, fully armed, about 6-8, a full section of military people following bullion vans. And that's the job. You don't see the police anymore. That means they are in the civil space. The other time I was driving through town, I was actually stopped because a bullion van had to go and drop cash somewhere, and they blocked traffic on both sides. Of course, they were doing their work, but I found it quite strange.
But it's a mistake. You see, the reason why I say that thing is a mistake is that we are saying that the police are allegedly involved in robbery,
right,
and allegedly involved in crossing bullion vans. But haven't we heard about soldiers also committing crimes all the time?
We have.
That is true.
Soldiers are be put before courts. So it's a wrong premise for anybody to say because police people are involved in crime, we should bring the soldiers to do police job. That is a wrong premise.
Right.
Because I have seen and
so somebody is not
edited stories as editor of soldiers who have been arrested for crimes.
Somebody is not thinking.
You see,
right.
We have the formed police unit, we have the SWAT, we have and the dress like and all that. They can do the job. It's just that we have to equip them, encourage them, and make sure that the IGP is strong on the ground. Is not politicized like the doctor is saying. So that the police job will be done.
Because the police have already gotten involved. Yes. Post this revelation, the police actually started investigation. So what would cause, whilst police investigations are ongoing, for the military to swoop in? My question is that now we have over 120 persons that have been released, after being arrested, if you will, by the military, screened, they've been beaten and harmed, and they've been left to go. But there have been questions online, though, also about the demographic and whether or not this type of action or activity could have happened in another place. For example, if the criminals had murdered or harmed this police or this soldier, I beg your pardon, in East Legon, for example, would we have seen the military moving in that same fashion? House to house, asking young men to come out?
I'm told that it's not necessarily a criminal. Well, now it's crime, but this is love gone bad. Soldier and another gentleman involved with one lady, and somebody had given the heads up, because I checked with my sources within the military intelligence, and they mentioned that, in fact, that's the narrative. So William and Johnnie are involved with Helen. Johnnie is the civilian, William is the soldier, and then somebody gives heads up that, well, William is coming in, and I come and I attack William, and that was what it was, which is why his phones and everything was intact. But then Doc said something, and William will understand this perhaps better, that if you touch a soldier, they would not let it go.
Yeah,
they will come for it. So if we put them in the public space, and not to justify what they did, because what the murdering of the soldier was wrong, the reprisal attack, I think, was also wrong. But then if you touch them, you are not sure to walk scot-free.
Are soldiers' lives more above all other citizens' lives? I want to get the picture that we are creating here.
It's the training, it's the way they are formed.
Let me explain how soldiers work.
So William, for example, if I'm on the battlefield with William, and touch with William is shot, I may not be able to take William away with me, but his name tag and all the other things I'll take, because there's good chance that the military may prep up Philip to go and represent as William in some form of investigation of a sort. Because people know that if Helen hears that William is the one coming, she may be scared. So once you don't know that William is gone and is dead, you'll be still scared, because you have seen somebody with name tag and everything, William and all of that. I mean, they have a certain kind of brotherhood and solidarity that you can't understand and break through. That you can't take away.
And as a byproduct, as a consequence of that, a young man can be in their house, removed without... One of the persons that was interviewed didn't even know what had happened.
That's why
taken from his home and beaten.
That's why you don't put them out in the civil space. So Doc says, don't politicize the military. Don't put them in the civil space. Put them in the barracks where they belong. Because if they are all in the barracks, all these things, we wouldn't have heard about it.
Helen.
Now, our electoral commissioner is guarded by military.
Yeah.
The first lady is guarded by a full major.
And recently, the speaker was crying that he didn't have a military escort.
Because they took them, they withdrew them. But the point is that if you withdraw them, withdraw from everybody else.
Even musicians are using the military now as escorts.
But how did we even, that's Doc says, the soldiers are not supposed to guard anybody. How did we even get beyond the police? If I need a bodyguard today, I will just write to the police administration. They will detail somebody and I will pay on a monthly basis.
I can even get a motorcade.
I can get
from the police.
So it's there. So how did we move from police now into military domain? How?
Should the police be asserting themselves at a time like this and making it known that this is their mandate and this is what they should do?
So that's the point I'm making. I wanted to make 2 points about the incident in Ashaiman. I would want us to describe what happened as a homicide, not as a murder. Okay. Because we don't have the details.
Doc says it's a coup.
Yeah, so I would want to. That's number one. Number two, we wanted to see how the soldiers. We have to read the story of Hiro Onoda. There's a Japanese soldier who fought in 1945. And when the war was officially over, he said he hadn't heard from his commander that the war was over. So he stayed on the war front for 25 more years. Before the commander, who was alive around 1970, flew to go and look for him and told him, "Master, the thing's over. That is soldiering for you."
Yeah.
So if you give an order to a soldier,
it has to be done.
It has to be done.
You see, that's where.
So read the story of Hiro Onoda. Say it after me.
Hiro Onoda.
Again.
Hiro Onoda.
Yes, you understand how the soldiers work.
And that's why the Doc, for example, says that, look, we can't hold the men. And I asked him that question for a reason. Because civilians and ordinary Ghanaians will quickly say, let's put the boys before the stakes and shoot them and deal with them, literally. But the boys took an order from the high command. Question is, what was going on in the minds of the high command when they ordered that the people go there at dawn? Helicopter, tanks, MOACs, all those things.
How do you go and investigate a suspected murder or homicide with MOAC?
M16 rifles, G3 rifles.
With buses.
This is full assault. Like Doc says, you can have a section, 8 people, small squad, something, go there, 16, 8, and they work in those multiples.
Yeah.
But when you have a full, what you saw there was like, this is some Iraq or Iran kind of thing. And it must be condemned in no uncertain terms. The murder must be condemned.
That's right.
Whoever did it must be held before the law and dealt with. But you see, at the heart of all of this, the justice delivery system. We are still talking about Major Maxwell Mahama today. We are still talking about JB Dankwa today. We are still talking about former MP for Fantiman Kwanzaa today. We are still talking about Roger Walker today. We are still talking about the Assemblies of God, Reverend Nyagwemadu today. We are still talking about Josephine, the Ghana Water woman today. We are still talking about so many, Fennec Autry. We are talking about Ahmed Swali. We are talking about all those people who were murdered. Until you begin to solve the murders quickly, people will always take the law into their own hands.
But Johnny, people would have to also understand that the wheels of justice grind slowly. There have been instances where people suspected, especially before the onset of DNA, people who were just suspected of murder, who were tried, found guilty, and thrown into jail 40 years, 50 years, they were found to be innocent and they were released. So justice is like that.
That's right.
But we are just happy that at least some of these cases are before the courts. If you mention Major Mahama, there are individuals before the courts. We are just hoping that the system, everybody who has information would come in and help to resolve them.
I know that I knew that you were going there as a student of the law. But again, you see, before DNA.
No, but you have to also let the people understand so that nobody will take the law into their hands.
I'm not calling for more injustice.
Yeah, of course.
But I'm saying that if we're talking about DNA, in the matter of the Takrady girls, Mami Tiwa Adodankwa, we know where they are, we'll reunite them, keep on keeping on, all those things that were said. The police have actually done a DNA test, confirmed that these are the girls who were killed in Takrady, right? The police has actually also obtained evidence and a confession from the Odutok Wills, the Nigerian guy, that he was the one who indeed killed the girls. Why is the case still in court? Doing what?
Oh, but I thought that
no, it's not being finished. The man who killed the girls says, I shot the sheriff. The DNA says it is the bones of the girls. What are you waiting for? To do what?
Well,
what are you waiting for again?
You see, the justice system, as I said, operates like that. So whatever it is, we should, or once at least, that's what we should be happy.
But William, you're looking...
People are before the courts.
William, you're looking
that,
for...
What should the citizens do?
William, when you go to court in a murder case, you're looking for evidence, right?
Beyond reasonable doubt.
Beyond reasonable doubt. Yeah. And I've always said, and you know, that nothing convicts a man faster than his words. The man who was arrested as the suspect said, I killed the girls. The bones which were retrieved from the septic tank, no matter how they were retrieved from the toilet pit by the police who went to borrow pickaxe and shovel and things to go in. They went to an investigation site, they didn't have all those things. And they finished and then they sucked everything out and took it. Have tested the bones and they said the bones are the bones of the girls who the man says he has killed. What again are you waiting for and looking for?
Okay, so Johnny, quite frankly, I don't remember that. I haven't read recently the updates on the Takrady case, so I wouldn't go into the. But what I can say generally is that even in criminal cases or even in confessions, sometimes are taken with a pinch of salt, and not in relation to the Takrady incident. I'm just saying generally. So the point I'm still making is that we should be happy that we have a democracy, we have courts that are dealing with some of these things, so that at least the citizens will be assured that this is what it is, and they wouldn't take the law into their own hands. And having said that, and then back to Doc's point, Dr. Nyaho Tamakloe's point, that the topmost individuals in the military should be the ones
should be held.
And I'm making reference to when the late Flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings was arrested with his team. He said, look, let my men go.
Yes, hold me accountable.
Yes, because he felt that as a soldier, he was at the top.
He understood the job.
Exactly. So that's what must happen, you know.
Anyway, well, we will bring you a conversation very, very soon. I know that you'll be looking forward to that conversation. Let's pick a few of your calls. 0592-928-795 and 0208-227-290. 0592